be dictated to in terms of education by somebody in Washington, a bureaucrat. I'm not saying they're all bad. There are plenty of bad ones. They want their job, they want their paycheck. They're probably not there most of the time. Why would somebody in Washington help your children learn in New Hampshire? It's ridiculous. So he's in favor, very strongly, of Common Core, and he's very weak on immigration. In other words, all those people, the illegals that are pouring across the border, let them come in. Remember he made this statement, they come in for love? This is Bush. And he's leading me. I can't believe it. I could see a couple of guys leave, but I didn't think it would be Bush. So anyway, here's your CNN poll. So the first question, they break it down. So I'm in second place, which is actually embarrassing. So,
not for long.
First question is, which Republican candidate do you think would be the best to handle the economy? I blow everyone away. I'm at 29%. The second highest is like at 13%. I blow everyone away. Okay, so in the economy, I'm number one, right? Here, hold this. Give me the one behind it, too. Got young hands, right? Second question. Which Republican candidate do you think can best handle international trade? Well, let me tell you, that one, there's not even a contest there, okay? I don't know. Oh, would China be in trouble? Oh, the poor Chinese. If I get in, we will bring those jobs back, so many. And you know the funny thing? We will bring those jobs back, and China will like us more than they do now. They don't like us now. They're building a port in the middle of the South China Sea. They're building a port for their warships. And I'm saying to myself, our country couldn't do that because we'd have to go out and get environmental impact statements. It would take about 15 years to get it approved, and in the end it would get approved. They're building stuff in the middle of the sea for their ships, their warships. They don't respect us. In Afghanistan, we fight and we help, and we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's very mountainous. And a lot of people don't. Afghanistan has great mineral rights. So Afghanistan, we're over here fighting. On the other side of the mountain, China is there taking out all the minerals. They're not doing anything. They're not giving any. They're taking the minerals out, and we're fighting. You know why? Because we're stupid. Huh? We're stupid. Our leaders are stupid people. They are incompetent. And China pays nothing. They don't care about Afghanistan. Saudi Arabia, every time a gun's fired, we send our troops, we send our boats, we send the destroyers, the aircraft carriers. Saudi Arabia makes $1 billion a day. What are we doing? And if you think these folks went into Yemen, you take a look at a map. You look at that border alongside. They're not looking at Yemen. They're looking at Saudi Arabia. And I was the one in 2004, I don't know if Reuters is here, but Reuters wrote a big headline. Trump said, stay out of Iraq. Because I said, and I'm a very big, strong person on military. Stay out of Iraq because you're going to destabilize the Middle East. And the worst person is going to get the oil. Iraq has the second largest oil reserves in the world. People don't know that. So they didn't listen. They went in. I used to have Bush people come see me. Stop that. Stop saying it. 2004, I said it. Reuters, July 2004. So I said, stay out of Iraq. It's a disaster. So now you had these two countries that were equal in terms of power. They'd fight for 5 years. They go 2 feet this way, 2 feet that way, then they go arrest. 2 feet this way, 2 feet that way. We decapitated the one. So what happens? Iran now is taking over, they're taking over Iraq as sure as you're standing there. In fact, last week, the people from Iraq, the leaders, if you call them leaders, they're not leaders, but they're meeting with Iran. So we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives, wounded warriors, who I love, all over the place. Okay, all over the place. And what do we get out of it? Nothing. Iran, exactly what I said in the Reuters. I should get credit for that, at least. I don't get credit. Now they're all scattering. There are all these candidates. They're all saying, well, I didn't really want the war. I was the one that said, don't do it. I said, don't do it. Big mistake. And I said, what's going to happen is Iran is going to take over Iraq. And Iran and somebody far worse than Saddam Hussein or anybody else is going to take over the rest of the oil. You know who that is? ISIS. ISIS is building a hotel in Syria. They're competing against me. I don't want to go to that hotel. Okay. So we have People with no vision. Now here's another one. Again, this is talking about terrorism. Now I have to tell you, this one I think I came in, it's the only one, I came in second, terrorism. But that's because people don't know me. There's nobody that will be better in security than me. There is nobody. There is nobody. That one's not close. I think, I'll be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. And I've said it. I will create jobs. We won't have to worry about minimum wage. We won't have to worry about it. We will have so many jobs in this country. We'll take them back. So here's just one other. Who would be the best on illegal immigration? Let's face it. Let's face it. That one is an easy one, right? Do we agree? And the other one, who do you think would do and who would be the strongest leader? Now, this is CNN. They don't like me because I want the country to be great, and they don't know about greatness. They don't get it. But CNN, I assume, it must be a legitimate poll because I'm winning in so many of these categories. But here's a pretty good one. Who do you think would be the strongest leader of all the Republican candidates? Number one is Trump. So I say to myself, if I'm number one in all these categories, and these are like the most important categories, why don't we just cancel this primary and just let's get the country back together. So look, this has been an honor. You guys have been so fantastic. Your speech he was very brilliant, right? Are you proud of your boy? But I always finish by saying this, and it's very simple. And I actually have it copyrighted because other candidates were copying me. The problem with these people, and not just Republicans, all of them, politicians are all talk, no action. Most of them have no imagination. They're only good at one thing, keeping their job. And I've gotten the biggest audiences by far. I get the biggest standing ovations by far. By far. And a couple of the candidates watched me speak. And all of a sudden they picked up my line. Make America Great Again. Yeah. I have it trademarked or copyrighted or whatever the hell they have. And they said, so we sent them a little notice, you can't do that, not legal, blah, 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 you don't want to go to jail or whatever. It's amazing how quickly they folded. They folded so quickly. Usually, I'm used to deal with New York real estate killers. They do the opposite, right? But they fold quickly. And that's what happens to our country. Our politicians fold. You heard about Benghazi? Indignation, 2 days, oh. You heard about IRS. You heard about Hillary's emails, which are a disaster. Oh, the emails are terrible. I'm talking about the Republicans now. Indignation for about 2 days. Then it's gone. You don't hear about it anymore. It's gone. That doesn't happen with me. So I always leave, and I say the following. If I'm elected president, we will make America great again. Thank you very much. I always like to finish on a high. You'll end up taking questions that'll never be the same. If you want.
I'm sorry. I don't. Here, why don't you get it there so you can get it there?
The press won't report that. And by the way, the press is not going to report it. See, here's the way I look at that. So I like Elton John. I like different people. I respect great entertainers. And a lot of times they'll do a song and they'll knock it out of the park. Knock it out, right? And the place is going crazy. And they walk off stage, and the place continues to go crazy. And so they come back for an encore. And they'll do 3 songs, and they stink. And then the people walk out. Say, that was a lousy job. So, I know when I do well. And I know my audience, and they like it, but all the audience. Because it is. It's about Make America Great Again. What's not to like? That's why it amazes me that the liberals, the Democrats, and I get along with Democrats. I contributed years and thousands, millions to Democrats. I get along with everybody. But it amazes me when people almost seemingly don't want to make our country great again. Okay, So with the story in mind about the encore, go ahead, sir, give me an encore. Let's really screw up this evening. I'll walk off with a terrible answer. They'll only report that one answer, and that'll be the end of that. Go ahead.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Fortunately, I have the voice. NBC fired you. Why don't you buy NBC?
You know, honestly, I've had a great relationship for like 12 years with NBC.
Buy it.
I know. They got very weak. They fell prey to some people protesting. Very small amount of people. And they were very angry with me because I didn't do Celebrity Apprentice here. I couldn't do it.
But you'd fix it.
I would fix NBC. I tell you what, I look at their programming and I say, I guarantee you, I can do a lot better than that. I would be a great programmer. I would have shows on NBC. I see people on NBC and some other networks that are so bad, I would be a great programmer. I know what sells. But in all fairness to NBC, I had 12 great years with NBC. We had a show that was the hottest show there was, you know, The Apprentice. And they renewed it. They just didn't know I'd be doing this. They didn't believe it. They're like everybody else. Nobody believed I was going to do it. And so I don't, you know, have a great, I think they did a terrible thing for the young women. And I think it's terrible. I mean, they left them down in Louisiana, just a terrible situation for those women. They didn't know what was happening. And as I said, they worked all their lives to be in that position. And they were treated absolutely terribly. But with all of that, let's see what happens. I mean, my first thing is Univision. And let's see how they respond to a $500 million, very good lawsuit. Very good lawsuit. And let's see who comes next. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I love that shirt. Come here. Wow, what a beautiful shirt. Look at the shirt. I love that shirt. Beautiful. You look great. Thank you. That's very nice. Go ahead.
Feel about voter ID.
I don't get that whole situation. Voter ID. And I know it's going to be a terrible, I'll be killed tomorrow in the press. I said to my daughter, Ivanka, I have a daughter who's a star. She's great. She's got it. Right? Ivanka. I have a daughter, she's great. And I said to her, you know what? Honestly. She said, what do you think, Dad? We were talking about different things. I said, honestly, for you, Ivanka, and for people generally, it's much easier if you're a liberal Democrat to get through life. You won't be criticized. They won't call you names. It's so much easier. But you got to do what you believe in your heart. I mean, if I were a liberal Democrat, they'd say I'm a super genius. You know, I had an uncle who went to MIT. He was a top professor, Dr. John Trump, a genius. It's my blood. I'm smart. I'm really smart. If I were a Democrat, especially if I was a liberal Democrat, they'd say I'm the smartest human being ever. But as a conservative Republican, I got to work hard. That's why I tell you my credentials before I get up. I'm not even talking about you, I'm talking to them, but they're not going to care. Nothing's going to change. So you really have to just go out and you have to do and believe in your own heart. You have to do what's right. I know what's right for this country. I fix things. You know, I told you a couple of those, but I take buildings and I make them great. I take jobs and I make them. Doral in Miami, hundreds and hundreds of acres in the middle of the Blue Monster. Hundreds and hundreds of acres. In the middle of, right smack in the middle of Miami. Phenomenal. Made a good deal. Bought it 4 years ago. Best course in Florida. I like this guy. But it's great. I mean, I rebuilt it and it's fantastic. And it had a big temperature and now it's fantastic. I make things better. You gotta make the country better. I had a member at Doral. He's been there for 20 years. He came up to me and he knew before and after. And he saw me about 2 weeks ago. And he said, you know, Mr. Trump, if you could do for the country what you did to this incredible property, because it's really, believe it or not, sounds simple, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Might be easier. Might be easier. We have tremendous potential in this country. We have tremendous people in this country. Tremendous people. But when you come into the country, you have to be legal. And we have to love you, and we have to cherish you. But you have to come in, you have to be legal. You can't have what's happening. And that's just one of many problems. Of many problems. Okay, question. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, go ahead. Boy, is he happy.
This is in honor of my friend Jeff Cassell, who watches the international markets every day.
Good.
He sees the trouble of America. $486 billion a year just on the interest of our debt.
Right.
How are we gonna fix that?
Well, you got a big problem coming up. Where's your friend? Good. You know the problem. Interest rates are so artificially low. At some point, you can't keep them artificial anymore. And when Janet got in, she's known for keeping them low. As a developer, I love low interest rates, but I also know that what's going on is a disaster. Because when interest rates go up, the interest cost is so astronomical that you better have a really smart next president. Because when you said something that's really a big fact. That is a huge problem. We are dealing with tremendous, massive amounts of debt. But what's going to happen when those rates go double and triple and quadruple, and that can happen? We're Greece, large-scale version, right? So it's a real problem. We need very capable people. We don't have that. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Huh? Go ahead. All right, well, come up quickly. I want a picture. Come on, Keith. Let's go. Fast. Oh, here we go. Let's go. It's nice that you didn't boo them the hell off the stage. Very nice. Okay, come on. Have a good time. Thank you. Okay, question. Yes.
In that same vein, sir, government is trying to
The entitlements are crazy, but you know what? We don't have the money in this. Hey, look, I am one that's going to keep the entitlements, and I'm going to have things fixed. But I'm going to make the economy so strong, and I'm going to take so much money away from all of these countries. China being the #1 abuser. You know, China's a big abuser. In fact, when China extended their lease in my building the other day, I actually said, "Are you sure they're going to do that?" They respect me. They said they don't want to be in any other building. They just extended their lease. People have paid into Social Security all their lives. And now all of a sudden you have people wanting to cut. When I heard Paul Ryan, and I like Paul Ryan as a person, but when I heard Mitt Romney chose Paul Ryan, I mean, what he's known for is killing entitlements. I said, that election's over. Now, it was really over because Mitt choked in the last month, let's face it. He choked. He choked like a dog. I don't know what happened to him. But that was not a pretty picture to watch. I'm not a joker. He choked like a dog. But when he picked Paul Ryan, who I like, but the first thing they did is ads talking about cutting. It was over. People have paid into Social Security and to the different things. We got to take the money back from China. We got to take the jobs back from China and other places. And we have to keep it going. Okay? So that's the way I look at it. And you know what? This economy is so potentially powerful that when we get it going, not if, when, we get it going, it can handle everything, including taking care of our vets who are treated like third-class citizens, and taking care of our military. We have a military. We give the best equipment to these guys that are chicken, that run. The bullets fired, they go. So the other day I'm actually watching NBC, but the other day I'm watching, and the Humvee, they have 2,300 Humvees were just taken over by the enemy. I said, you mean it's 3 or 4? No, sir, it's 2,300 Humvees total armor plate. We don't have equipment like that. They took it over in one day, the enemy. So we need General Douglas MacArthur. I'll find him. We need General George Patton. I'll find him. I mean, I'm looking at some of the people that are representing us in the military. We need Patton. We need MacArthur. They're out there, folks, believe me. Believe me, they're out there. How about one further question? Yes, ma'am. Oh, boy. Go ahead, give me one more question. One more question. Do yourself. Come on. She drove an hour and a half. Okay, who's got a really good one? You do. Go ahead. Okay? Right. Lives in New Mexico. Right. Okay? Well, Spanish is taking over large portions of certain sections. I mean, there's no question about it. I've heard that from so many different people. Maybe she's going to have to learn Spanish. I don't know. It's very sad. The whole thing. The whole thing. It is so sad. It is so sad. But I bet she'll do very well. Okay? I'll bet she'll do very well. But we don't have politics. It's not politically correct to say can't do that. You know that. Say hello to your mother. All right, one more question. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead. You have to create spirit. One thing I thought, I really felt, one thing on Obama, I thought he was very, very, look, I thought he should never have been in the position. I've turned out to be right. I thought that maybe he wouldn't be a very good president, but he was our president. But the one thing I thought he would do well is be a great cheerleader for our country. And he turned out to be a very divisive force. He turned out to be very, very negative. So he turned out to be a very negative force. What we have to do is convince people that working is so good. I love it. I never take vacations. I work. That's all I do. I work. I love it. I'll go to Turnberry in Scotland. I own it. I'll go to Doonbeg in Ireland. I own it. I only go to places I own. I never go to other places. You know why? They put newspaper articles and they'll say, Trump doesn't like Turnberry. That's why he's coming to our place. I have to be careful. No, but I love working. We have to create spirit in the country. We don't have spirit. We don't have working spirit. It's great. People often ask me, what do you do about Baltimore? What do you do about Newark, New Jersey? What do you do about all sorts of places? We've got to create, it's all education, it's also spirit. We don't have spirit in this country. You have spirit, but your spirit is dampened because no matter what you do, you get knocked to hell and you feel like defeated. And stuff that you say that is a no-brainer, people connect you 17 different ways. We have to create incentives for people to want to go out there and really create the American dream. And we're not doing it right now. Thank you all very much. Great honor. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.